The suggestions here are intended to stimulate thought and innovation. We want them to be adapted and changed, reviewed and developed continuously. Firstly, consider, do you actually need a meeting? Could the work be done using MS Teams, Slack threads, or even using workflow management tools? The McKinsey Insight is a great page talking about different styles of meetings for what you want to achieve. You have decision making with active facilitation between 6 to 8 attendees. Discussion meetings, where discussion topics are identified with 8 to 20 attendees. And finally, you have information sharing meetings. This is one-way communication with a speaker to 2,000 attendees. Some principles that are key to know are that kit is a means to an end. The success of the meeting will only partly depend on kit. What really matters is inclusive chairing and a commitment by everyone to make the meeting work. Planning matters. For hybrid meetings to work, more time needs to be spent on planning and especially on clarifying the purpose and intended outcomes of the meeting. Meeting etiquette. Make sure that the event invite includes clear dial-in or video call information. And finally, set up to succeed. Pick rooms with all technology, for example, rooms with speakers and screens, so the call can include global teams. Technology is also key. Sound and vision are equally important, and high-quality speakers are necessary so everybody can be heard. The basic kit isn't enough. Wide-angle cameras and speakerphones are a good idea. Emphasise visibility. Have 2 large monitors in the room so that remote participants can appear in the room. Check for accessibility. You need to understand if any colleagues in the meeting will require adjustments. For example, live transcripts, translate options, or sharing content for those with a screen reader. And finally, have a backup plan. Another way remote participants can join the meeting. Nominate a point person, an alternative platform, or even an old-fashioned dial-in number. Continually ask, what do remote participants need to see in order to fully engage? Faces of in-room attendees, shared presentations, physical documents, or even content created during the meeting on whiteboards or flip charts. Replicate what's done in the physical room for remote participants. If you are brainstorming in the room on a whiteboard, do the same for virtual attendees. And each remote participant should have an in-room avatar, a participant who can be their physical presence if required. Planning matters. Invite remote participants to access the meeting 10 to 15 minutes earlier. This allows remote participants to address any audio/video issues. Designate an in-person participant to monitor the chat online. They'll be the eyes and ears for the remote participants in the meeting. And finally, think about breakout rooms. If the meeting demands breakout rooms, it's worth an extra effort to integrate remote participants across several breakout groups. Everyone needs training and development. Learn to use tools to engage people remotely. The chair needs help. The committee support should keep an eye on the virtual attendees and let the chair know if someone is not included. The chair should be outside of the room for better results. Active chairing is required. Draw remote participants in, keep them engaged, and take notes of those not involved and ask them questions. Prioritise the engagement of remote participants. Ask for feedback/questions before in-person participants. Avoid distractions like side conversations and ask that all attendees take turns speaking. And have a common protocol for speaking. Both in-person and remote should raise their hand before joining in. Use the chat. Everyone in the room and remote should use the chat function. And stress clarity. Repeating a question helps to ensure that everybody understands. And finally, gain feedback at the end of the meeting. What worked well? What should you do differently next time to ensure the meeting is inclusive for everyone? Then share what you learnt with colleagues to help their remote and hybrid meetings work. The National Forum of Health and Wellbeing exists to improve the workplace, inspire people and organisations to think about the opportunities that healthy, high-performing people bring to work, creating shared values, and bringing the most innovative, evidence-based thinking to organisations.